We now welcome in CBS Sports NFL analyst Emory Hunt on the heels of Shedeur Sanders' preseason debut. And listen, I'm going to give you your flowers, Emory. This does not happen often, but you have been on the Shedeur hype train, or at least you've been shutting down the Shedeur Sanders disrespect. But now you got to see firsthand his performance in the Browns preseason opener. He humbly said on the sidelines that he didn't think he was sharp at all. But now I want to get Emory's thoughts.
What you expect shouldn't surprise you. So I'm not surprised by this, Kiana, and I appreciate you giving me my flowers because at the end of the day, we saw this before against Florida A&M when he first debuted at Jackson State. Florida A&M was ranked in the top 15. It was a torrential downpour down at the Orange Blossom Classic in Miami. Shedeur Sanders, first time we ever saw him play college football, went out there, balled, led an upset victory against FAMU. First time he debuted as an FBS quarterback against a highly ranked TCU squad. He went out there, put up 500 yards and 4 touchdowns in an upset victory over TCU in Fort Worth, Texas. So why wouldn't I expect him to come out here in his debut, show up and show out? Because what we saw from him in this ball game was all the things we saw from him throughout his career: touch, timing, anticipation, elite level accuracy, toughness within the pocket, willing to stare down a gun barrel and fire a shot downfield, showing that he can escape outside the pocket, better athlete than given credit for, and showing that he can make plays when he threw a nice little floater down to Luke Flourier down the sideline for a chunk play, and also maximizing opportunities in the red zone. 3 trips, 3 touchdowns. He played well tonight.
Most certainly, but a lot of people don't always make that same transition from what they're doing in college and get to do that in the pros. And while this might be a very small sample size, I think nonetheless, agreeing with what you're saying, very encouraging from what we saw from him. But we did get to see a bit of everything from Shedeur. His decision-making when scrambling, big third down conversion, we were talking about that, those touchdowns, but also we saw that he is still a rookie, okay? But how do you think maybe this performance on Friday night could alter his reps and ultimately maybe affect this quarterback competition? That's the real question at hand.
Well, it probably doesn't affect it much in terms of where he's going to move up, although it should. But at the end of the day, it's just one game, one viewing of him in a live game setting. But they should have confidence that, hey, we could throw him into any situation and he's going to succeed. What I like to see him do more of is get more of those receivers to lock in when you have those scramble drills. We saw him get outside the pocket, and we saw him do the whirly bird, serpentine back there in the pocket and almost took a sack. Why weren't receivers working back to him? That's something that he and those receivers on the third or fourth team got to lock in on and make sure next time they get a chance that doesn't be the case. And again, we saw him do a lot of good things. The ball came out of his hands quickly. I guess everybody said that in order to be a top quarterback, you got to break the huddle. It was break the huddle week all week. Can you get out the huddle? As if that's the first thing you need to be a quarterback. Well, we didn't see any delay of game penalties coming out of the huddle and all those things that they talked about. So I thought he did some things really well. Now, what I would say to your question, to your point you made about him looking like a rookie, why don't some rookies take that early step forward like we tend to see them do in college? Well, for him, he was getting beat up all throughout college. So those sacks kind of made him, immune to the pressure. So he's not afraid of the pressure of the moment and also the pressure coming from the defense. So he's more equipped to step in right away and play like a vet.
Most certainly, he's already equipped considering what he went through and now doing so in the pros. But Emory, we got to talk about the other side of this matchup because we did get to see a brief look at Bryce Young, who completed 4 of 6 of his passes for 58 yards and a handful of series. But I feel like what he did on the field might have been a bit overshadowed just by Shedeur's night and how he performed. But as far as Young, he did show a little bit of how he left off at the end of last season. We saw that spark. We saw some encouraging plays. But what did you like from Bryce and his Panthers offense?
I'm glad you referenced that or prefaced that way and framed it this way, Kiana, because people want quarterbacks to play the game the same way. And not every quarterback has to play it the same way. What I like about Bryce Young's game and his style, it's almost like a point guard leading the fast break. He's in transition. He's kind of weaving through the defense, and somebody's going to break free. He's going to dish him the football. We saw that on the touchdown pass to Jalen Coker. And everyone wants you to drop back 1, 2, 3, scan left, scan right, and then dump the ball off to the running back in the flat. Like, no, sometimes you got to make things happen. And I like how he was able to do that. Some people may feel as though that's a little bit frenetic for them. They don't want the pace to be like that. But for Bryce Young, that's when he excels. That's what we saw him excel at Alabama. That's what we saw him tap into the back end of last season when he went on that run and played really well since coming off the bench when he wasn't playing well earlier in the season. So I like that he looked like Bryce Young. And as they continue to get the run game going and as they continue to get more chemistry with him and Tetairoa McMillan, then that we're going to see more of the Bryce Young that won the Heisman and more of the Bryce Young that we saw late last season.
I think that's what everybody is rooting for and what we want to see. I know a lot of people talk about Cam Ward and how he might be an underrated, I guess, first-round pick. But I think the same can be said for Bryce Young. A lot of people still waiting to see that. And, hey, we might get to see that this year. As always, Emory Hunt, appreciate you. Thank you. Well, coming up for Young and the Panthers, they're going to head to the H to take on the Texans before wrapping up preseason action, hosting the Steelers on August 21st. As for Shedeur, he'll have more opportunities to plead his case on August 16th, visiting the defending champs before the Browns' preseason finale against the Rams. We're back with CBS Sports NFL analyst Emory Hunt as the Patriots ran up and down. Literally. The Commanders now, albeit Washington playing solely reserves in this one, but Pat's rookie running back Travion Henderson taking that opening kickoff to the house on his first touch at the NFL level, finishing his night with 30 yards from scrimmage on 4 touches. Drake May bouncing back after a fumble on the opening drive with a rushing touchdown where he had one of his own. But what did this offense, did they look improved to you, and how so?
Well, they looked okay. Obviously, they have to clean up some stuff. You talked about Drake May's fumble. That's something that he wants to get rid of, those turnovers that kind of plagued him a little bit last year. But you like that he shows that athleticism. And right now, I think he's super comfortable and just taking off and running. So that is going to be a part of his game that allow the passing game to ease itself into, motion, ease itself into consistency. So you like what you saw there athletically. But Travion Henderson, man, when you think about someone, the last time we saw him in college, he was breaking that long screen pass against Texas in the national championship game. Looked just like that on an opening kickoff. Then you saw him run with some juice on his long carry. What I liked most about the Patriots as a whole was how they attacked this game. I don't care if it was preseason. You saw the enthusiasm. You saw the aggressiveness on defense in terms of how they were tackling in the open field, how these defensive backs was breaking on the football, making plays at the catch point with these wide receivers. And if you have that level of, excitement, that level of physicality, that level of enthusiasm on all 3 aspects of the game, that bodes well for you playing good football throughout. And that's what we could expect from a Mike Vrabel team, because this team was locked in from start literally to finish.
Okay, might not have been the prettiest or the most perfect game that you'd hope for, but at least a lot of key takeaways you can take away from what the Patriots did put out there on the field. But Emory, we saw 6 teams in action on Friday night, some rookie highlights, some hometown heroes, special team standouts. But who was your overall standout performer from Friday?
How about wide receiver Caden Davis for the Browns? 2 touchdown passes, receptions tonight from Shedeur Sanders. The first one was the dime throw in a tight window, but he was able to get his feet in bounds. And the second one was an even tighter window as he's sliding down, trying to corral the ball, using his body as his third hand to make that reception for a touchdown. This is somebody that has bounced around. I remember being at Giants training camp last year. He was with the Lions. He had played in the UFL, and now he's starting to find his sea legs here with the Browns. So this is someone that's still fighting for an opportunity. And when the stage is biggest, you have to make sure you stand out and show yourself to be someone they can count on. So I thought he made 2 outstanding grabs tonight. And shout out to the UFL players. Lucky Jackson had a fantastic game again in the Atlanta game. And also Tetairoa, running back with the Browns. Jacob Sailors, a running back for Detroit. These are all guys that have played in UFL, XFL. So they've played in the spring season 10 games, and now they're competing here in the preseason, still trying to make the job. Doesn't matter if they already got 10 games on their body. They're still trying to play professionally at the NFL level. So shout out to those guys as well. But Caden Davis played remarkable tonight.
Yeah, maybe some, let's say, lesser known names to the average fan, but still trying to make themselves a name and a spot on this roster. And the beauty of it, Emory, this is only the beginning. Football season right around the corner, and we appreciate you stopping by with the insight. Thank you. And hey, like I mentioned, plenty more preseason action coming at you. Giants rookie signal caller Jackson Dart making his preseason debut at 1 p.m. Eastern as the Giants take on the Bills. Another young signal caller, J.J. McCarthy, will see the field for the first time since that meniscus tear a year ago as the Vikings host the Texans. And Jets' new head coach Aaron Glenn he's putting all his starters out there, including Justin Fields, as the Jets take on the Packers. We are one step closer to football.